back to football. Let's get off the hardwood. Let's talk Dom and Pop quarterback draft. Pop, you ready to go?
Let's do it. Let's do it. We got 2 spins on this, so make sure you set it up.
Let's do it. So we've got rookies and second year quarterbacks. We're going to do a top 10 draft for that. So we're going to do like a snake draft fantasy football style, get 5 picks each, right? And then same thing in the NFL. We got top 10. Although I don't think with 2 people, I don't think you want to go snake draft. I think we just go you, me, you. We just go back and forth, right?
I don't understand what the difference is between that and a snake draft. What's a snake draft?
A snake draft is the draft that you do every year in fantasy football where you would go first, and then I would go second, and then I would go third, you would
Oh,
go
I
fourth,
didn't
and
realize
then
that's how
fifth.
we were doing it.
Yeah. No, let's just go back and forth. I think we'll make the call. It's easier to just go back and forth. Right?
Whatever you say, son.
All right.
I thought we were just going back and forth.
Pop, man. Love my pop. Pop's in. So I got a coin here. We'll flip a coin. I'll let Pop.
Can I make
here.
a proposal?
Go ahead.
I'd like to go first in the top 10 NFL, so the overall best quarterbacks in the NFL draft, and I'd like you to go first in the rookies draft, rookies and second year players. Can I make that proposal?
I'm good for that. I was going to go good old fashioned heads and tails live for the people, but I'm good with that.
I feel like this. There's reasons I feel like this sets up better. I want to see who you pick number 2 in the overall draft.
In the overall draft?
Yeah, because number 1's obvious. I'm more interested in your take on who's number 2. So
got it. Yeah, okay. Well, you just want me to take Joe Burrow over Lamar, and then you can
Don't
go
spoil
crazy.
it. Don't spoil it.
I know what you're doing, but go ahead. So, Pop, do you want to start with the NFL now that we've talked about?
No, the rookies. We're starting with the rookie draft, so we get a little Jaden Daniels talk in there.
Look at the outline to get to. I know, but you're already changing things on me. So cool. We'll start with the rookies. Got it. All right. So I guess I'm going to go first on the rookies in the second year draft. All right. Well, at the number 1 overall pick, I'm taking CJ Stroud. That's pretty obvious, right?
Hard to argue with that one.
You gotta go there. What do you got, Pop, at number 2?
So again, we're considering all first year and second year, all rookies, and then guys going into their second year. Kind of like if we were just able to draft and start a franchise or build a franchise off these young guys.
Yeah.
So number 2, I'll stick to the script. I'll go Caleb Williams. I think he would be, to me, he would come in next if you were starting. And I'm tempted to go with Jaden Daniels, but Caleb Williams was first overall this year. That was the consensus. So I'll go Caleb Williams, number 2.
I'm running to the podium and taking it. Here, I'm taking Anthony Richardson at number 3.
This annoys me. I almost wanted to set you up for this.
You did set me up for it on purpose. I'm running to the podium and taking Anthony Richardson. You saw what he did in 4 games last year. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be a stud. So I'm taking Anthony Richardson, especially in that Shane Steichen offense, everything he's dealing with over there. I'm big on Anthony Richardson stock at number 3. So I'm taking him there, and I'm very happy with my team here. I would have done this 1-2, honestly. At 4, Pop's going to take Jaden Daniels.
I can't believe you'd pick Anthony Richardson over Jaden Daniels. I just feel like, and I know I'm tainted.
Yeah,
I know I'm a homer.
Serious.
It's hard to be, what's the right word? Unbiased. Yeah. It's hard. But I just feel like Jaden Daniels is so much more of the complete player than Anthony Richardson. I don't know how you'd pick Richardson over some. Without a doubt, I want Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels would have been my number 3, without a doubt. Maybe my number 2 in this draft, but definitely ahead of Anthony Richardson. So Jaden Daniels number 4. Would you go Jaden Daniels number 4? I'm just curious.
100%.
Okay. Thank God.
Yeah. Interesting dynamic here where I have only picked players that are second year, and Pop's only got the rookies right now. But I do think
I would have gone with CJ Stroud 1. No question about it.
I do think you can kind of dart throw Richardson or Daniels. That's fair, I guess. But I do think this is about what you look at in terms of the top 4 and what you expect for next year. At number 5, this is an interesting place.
This is a tough one.
This is a tough one, right? This is tough, but I am going to go Bryce Young. I will take Bryce Young here.
I respect that.
You can't ignore what he did. You can't ignore how terrible that team was last year and just everything they had to deal with. I think Bryce Young could still be a nice player in the league. I think he still could be.
Yeah, I think so. I respect that. I don't know what to expect out of Bryce. I mean, he was so hyped up last year. He's in a bad situation on a bad team.
Definitely.
Really bad. I don't know how much better it's going to get for him this year. But I respect the pick because we're kind of doing it based on not him playing for the Carolina Panthers, but him playing for whatever franchise we're drafting for. I think next I go Drake May. I think Drake, for the longest time was supposed to be number 2 in this draft. I'm glad Jaden Daniels ended up being that, but I just don't get that excited about anyone else on the board and any of these second-year guys. And he's a consensus, next guy off the board in this draft. I think this was a much stronger quarterback draft overall. So I would go Drake May here at number 6.
Running to the podium to take Will Levis at 7.
You would have gone Levis over May?
I would have gone Levis over May, yeah. I think I like what Levis has in Tennessee. I think Levis has a lot of talent. I like what he showed last year, and I think
I can live with that.
I think if you're going to look back a year from now and go, who really surprised us, Will Levis might be that guy. What do you got at 8, Pop? Who do you go next?
So at 8,
where it starts to get tough.
I think it comes down to a pick between J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix, in my opinion.
Sure.
Right? And, boy. I'll spice it up with a little bit. I'm going to go Michael Penix. I was a fan of Michael Penix. I think that I think he could spin it. I think he's got something special there. And JJ's solid. Maybe the safer pick here. But I think I'm going to go Michael Penix at number 8.
I'm going to take my QB3 in last year's draft and go ahead and take JJ McCarthy there at 9.
So there's one more spot left. And I think this essentially comes down to either Bo Nix or Aiden O'Connell, who was a 4th-round pick, who actually could be competing for a job at the Raiders. I don't know anything about the kid, I got to admit. So just by default, I'll go Bo Nix. I don't know if there's any other names you'd consider out there, but I think we're kind of running out of guys at this point.
Yeah, you're pretty much tapped on that. I think you got the number 10 pick, I don't think super matters. I think when you look at how young quarterbacks pan out, maybe 50% of these guys will be multiple-year league starters after their first rookie contracts. So we'll see how it pans out. But, man, that was fun, Pop. So let's go over
that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. I think it's a bit of a unique take on this. I mean, I do want people to bookmark this situation. Definitely. Dominic picked Anthony Richardson over Jaden Daniels. I don't want to put Dominic in a position. I'm sure he wants to be wrong here.
Yeah, 100%.
I hope. But just bookmark this. Let's see how the season goes. And so if we did this, if we redrafted this, maybe we'll do like a mid-season redraft or something if we remember.
Yeah. So do you want to put a little 5 spot on this and
no, I don't want to bet because I don't want to put you in a position.
Fair enough.
Maybe what we could do. Here's what we'll do. I like this one. See if we'll remember. Our guys that we picked, we'll do fantasy points against fantasy points and see who ends up with the most.
That's what I was just going to suggest. In
total. I didn't want to go Richardson versus Daniels.
No. The whole team. So my team for next year will be C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, Will Levis, and J.J. McCarthy. And Pop's team for next year will be Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May.
I like my team.
And Bo Nix. I like my team. Here's where I'm a little worried about your team, Pop, is I don't know if Drake May or Michael Penix Jr. will see the field next year. That's where I'm a little worried.
We're top heavy, though. We're top heavy.
You're top heavy. I like that. All right, let's get into the overall top 10. So Pop has requested the number one pick here. So Pop, kick us off. Go ahead and take Patrick Mahomes.
Do I even need to say it? Yeah. Patrick Mahomes. are
Patrick
maybe
Mahomes,
in line to be considered among the greatest ever, at least in the conversation. If he keeps in a trajectory like this, I think he's in our top 3 to 5 all time, probably at this point.
Yeah. So I want to make an understanding here before I make my pick. We're picking just our overall top 10, but we will score it off of fantasy points. So we're not picking off fantasy points, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I was the overall top 10.
If we're not picking off fantasy points and we're picking
who do you
overall
want
top
on your
10,
team in 2024?
At this moment, this one's tough. Do you want the 2-time MVP by the age of 26? Or do you want the only guy who's proven he can win and he can take out that number one guy?
Insider, he's on the edge of his seat, man. Not able to concentrate on work at this point.
That's a tough one. If Burrow was not hurt last year, I take Burrow here. If Burrow was not coming off of an injury that we have never seen an NFL quarterback have, I take Burrow here. I have to take Lamar Jackson here. I don't like it, but I have to take Lamar Jackson.
Respect. I would absolutely take Lamar here. I'll go Joe Burrow next, and I'll tell you why. It'd be tempting to go Josh Allen, but I think that, to me, and you and I had this conversation, the difference between a Josh Allen and a Joe Burrow, at least to date, is that we just haven't seen Josh Allen be special under the lights, in the biggest moments through the playoffs. He's had slumps. Joe Burrow, when he's healthy, which has been a problem. That's the tough thing about this pick, because I think Josh Allen's more reliable, more durable in general. Joe Burrow gets hurt a lot. And like you said, this is a funky injury that he's got with his wrist.
Yeah.
But I think when Joe is on his game, he's in the conversation, right there at the top. So, I've got to go Joe next for sure.
Yeah. And there's no
I hope he's healthy because he's fun to watch.
If Joe's healthy, he's on his game. That's just the bottom line. Everything, even his rookie year, I mean, he was on a historic pace his rookie year before he tore his ACL. Joe Burrow is the real deal. We just got to keep him healthy.
PFF quote, I love this, he's an ice in his veins decision maker with assassin-like accuracy and MVP caliber play. And I think that sums up Joe Burrow pretty well, but he's got to stay healthy.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing going on with Lamar and Burrow. They're in the same division. They've never both been healthy the same season. So it's just really interesting to look at it that way.
Great point.
As how can this pan out? If we can get just 1 year where the two of them can really go head to head, we can get an answer on that. But it's hard to weigh. Number 4, I am going to take Josh Allen. I think we can just move past that. I think that's the consensus pick. Pop, you want to go ahead on number 5?
So now this is where it starts to get interesting, but I still kind of believe, and I've been a critic of Justin Herbert myself, but I just think that I really respect what I hear around the league in terms of his talent. Yeah. And, he's got, a good grade in terms of his stats under pressure. He's just hasn't had much of a team to work with. It's kind of like we talked about Bryce Young and the youngsters draft, I'll call it. I'll just stick with Justin here. I know it's a little bit of controversial pick among some of our listeners, one in particular, but I'll stick with Justin at 5.
Yeah, I think that's
comment if you don't agree. Comment if you don't agree.
I think that's the right call there. I will happily take CJ Stroud at number 6 here.
I like that pick.
I think it's the lowest you could possibly
get. I like that pick. I almost should have went with him at number 5. I like that pick. I like that.
You have a real talk for CJ Stroud in the top 3 next year if he has another year like he had last year. But I got Stroud at number 6 for sure.
So now for me at number 7, clearly the best quarterback for me at number 7 is Matt Stafford. Now it's another conversation.
I like that
about
pick.
health, But I tell you, I got to see him live last year, and so impressive, and just how he processes and how he runs that offense in LA, and the coaching that he gets. Obviously, you just got to stay on the field. But to me, clearly, I mean, it's if I look at a Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers at his age, and Jalen Hurts, to me, clearly Matt Stafford is who I would run to the podium and pick here at number 7.
Yeah, I am personally not in the business of drafting, 40-year-old quarterbacks coming off Achilles tears. So I'm going to pass at number 8 on Aaron Rodgers. I know that's probably the pick that you want to see there. This one's hard for me. I'm split between two guys who I think these two guys are at the exact same point in their career personally. I'm stuck between Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence. I will take Jalen Hurts here because I think it's probably my Eagles anti-bias. The fact that I don't like the Eagles, that's probably putting him right next to Trevor Lawrence. But I think it's close, and I think Jalen Hurts, I think sneakily is in a little bit of a prove it year this year. I think we've got to see Hurts get closer to that what we saw out of him in his potential MVP season 2 years ago.
So this next guy is who I thought you were going to pick.
You gonna take Purdy?
Jordan Love.
Ooh.
I thought you were going to pick Jordan Love. I'm actually surprised that
that's an
you didn't pick Jordan Love.
That's
so
an oversight.
I'm going Jordan Love. Now, I thought your CJ Stroud pick was amazing. I was sad I didn't think about that. But I'm going Jordan Love next.
Now, would you have taken Stroud at 5 if you thought about that? Interesting. That's spicy. That's spicy. I can't. That's the one guy I can't be mad at you for there.
Yeah, I would have gone CJ. I just didn't think of it.
Yeah.
Poor prep on my part.
I like Love there at 9. I think Love and Hurts are close.
So we know who your 10 is. You just said it.
Yeah, I will take Trevor Lawrence at 10.
True. So I think what I would do differently here if I was looking at this, if I look, top 4, pretty consensus. I go Stroud at 5.
Yeah.
I'd slide Herbert to 6. I pick Matt Stafford. I'd slide Jordan Love ahead of Jalen Hurts, personally. And then I think you got a conversation between him and Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. The Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts conversation is an interesting one. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but it is interesting because how do you weigh? You have the young guy who, by all accounts, looks like the next big thing in the NFL. Looks like a guy that when you get like a Matt Stafford might be on his way out, he might be taking Matt's spot in the top 10, right? But only showed it to you for half of the season last year. Towards the end of the year, he started to put it together, and you think, okay, it definitely clicked. He's moving in the right direction, but you just don't know, right? And then you have Jalen Hurts, who you saw was kind of the Jordan Love of 2 years ago. You saw put together an incredible run to get the Eagles to the Super Bowl, just looked on top of the world, looked unstoppable. And then last year took a step back and kind of with all the dysfunction going on in the Eagles, you don't know who to put it on. You don't know who to blame, but you saw him kind of take a step back, and you also saw him have an incredible supporting cast around him. It's hard. That's a hard choice to make. I think most people still will lean Hurts, but I do think it will be very interesting to see what that looks like at the end of next year. I think that
maybe I'm guilty of listening to the chatter, but I think if you went back and listened to what I've said in the past, I'm a big Jalen Hurts guy in general, other than the team he plays for. But it just bothers me a little bit. There's just some intuition about the way that people are talking about him, and there's the uncertainty that there seems to be around him as a player and his situation with the Eagles. But I would go Jalen over Dak, and it's interesting that Dak is not in our top 10.
No.
I'm personally pretty pleased about that.
You can't put him in. We talked about a couple of years ago how rough the quarterback situation is in the NFL. I think we're seeing a renaissance of the golden era of the quarterback. I think we're seeing it come back, and you just can't put Dak ahead of any of those guys in good conscience. I mean, maybe if you want to say him and Trevor are in the same conversation, but Lawrence has the playoff wins on his resume that I haven't seen back in a
Yeah.
long time.
But Jordan
So
Love, I think Jordan Love had an impressive year last year. I mean,
unreal.
statistically, top 10 total passing, top 5 quarterback in big time throws, 27 big time throws versus 10 turnover worthy. You know, and it's not like Green Bay was some sort of powerhouse
No,
team in terms of the roster around him. So he's on the climb, and a
yeah.
lot of people that know what they're talking about around the NFL are super high on this kid. So
Yeah, I'm a huge Jordan Love fan. I think I said it going into the year last year. I said, "Hey, I've seen some tape on this kid. I've seen some breakdowns on him and what he's done in the preseason. Watch out. I think they have another one." And I just think when you look at the Packers organization, they're just not moving on from Aaron Rodgers unless they know what they have there,
yeah,
especially off of 2 MVP seasons. And I mean, love's the real deal. I think we're going to see I like a value pick on him for MVP next year. I like something like that. I think you could see like crazy just because the odds are so long. Like it's probably like plus 1,600 or something like that. I like throwing a unit on that and just seeing. But now that I said that whole be worthless next year, I'm sorry, Jordan Love. I probably just ruined you. But
let us
why don't
know
we
in the
wrap this
comments,
thing
just
up?
in general, who you think should be in the top 10, where we're out to lunch, both on both lists. We'd love to
Yeah,
hear it.
for
Chop it
sure,
up.
for sure. Yeah, I think that was a lot of fun, Pop. I enjoyed kind of doing that draft. I think it's kind of boring to just read 10 down. I think the draft is a nice it's a nice
Yeah,
touch because you're kind of like trying to anticipate how each other ranks the teams. But yeah, man, let's wrap this thing up. Without further ado, I've been Dom,
this is Pop.
and thanks for another great week, everybody.